Hi, I'm Bill Timaeus, and I'm here with Al Brooks today at the AdHoc Group Against Crime, which Al helped to start, to talk with him about his new memoir, which is called Two Mothers' Son. As you may know, Al used to be mayor pro-tem of Kansas City, used to be a police officer, used to be chairman of the police board, and I think of Al as kind of an icon in Kansas City. So let's talk. Al, you call your memoirs Two Mothers' Son, and I only got to have one mother. Tell us how you got to have two.
Well, first of all, I was adopted by the Brookses, Cluster and Estelle Brooks. My mother was a 14-year-old mother. My father was a 17-year-old father. And I didn't know I was adopted until I was 22 years old. And so my biological mother found me here in Kansas City, Missouri, but didn't tell me she was my mother for a period of time, and began to write these letters by way of the Kansas City School District, because I was a product of Kansas City School District and went to junior college, which was under the Kansas City School District. And when the letter was sent to them, they just put her letter into an envelope and sent it to me. And then I began to correspond, and she began to ask me a lot of questions, and I didn't even know what she was talking about. So I went out to my dad, who was my adopted father, and I said, Dad, you know, this lady is writing all these letters to me and asked me all these questions. I don't know what she's talking about. And he said, what's her name? And I said, Thomasine. And when I said Thomasine, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. And his eyes bucked and tears came into his eyes. And he said, well, if I was you, I would be very careful of communicating with folks. You never know what they're trying to do. So I go home and I said to my wife, I said, when I mentioned Thomasine to Dad, he looked awful funny. Something's wrong there somewhere. I was on the police department, not that I had some police skills at that time, but something just didn't seem right. So I began to continue to communicate with her. And eventually, this is August 1954, in October, she wrote a letter and said, because at that time I told her we had 3 kids, I was on the police department and this kind of thing. And this one letter in October, she said, I hope I'll know my grandkids better than I know my son. And that just blew, and blew things. And so I never said anything to my dad about this. Christmas Day, 1954. I just gotten off working the midnight shift at the police department, and phone call. And I answered, Merry Christmas, Brooks resident. And in the background, I could hear Continental brand of TWA. She said, Alvin, this is your mother. I'm at the airport. Can you pick me up? So that's how I got for the Two Mothers' Son, my adopted mother and my biological mother. Now, my adopted mother and my adopted father never knew my father. Now, 9 years later, I should say, and my mother, after 54, in 1963, she finally was able to locate my biological father, who's still in Miami, Florida. And so the 3 of us became very close.